Welcome back to Retro ReWire. My name is JJ. We are in Nagasaki, Japan for another In the Hunt episode, this time at Gameru. This is a mom and pop shop. And we're going to start here with the Famicom titles. And this video is going to be a little bit rushed. We have Holy Diver there because it was a last minute type of thing. I was out here on vacation. I happened to see that they were near the airport and I kind of squeezed that in. We have Kid Dracula there for 2,499 and 800 yen for that Makaimura. But I kind of just made time to come out here because, there's a game shop, there's a hard off. This is actually a double feature episode. And yeah, let's check out to see what kind of stuff that they have. And I do like how kind of the arrangement of the stacks here, because it does provide, I guess, a good sense of game hunting because, you're just going to be browsing through everything. And it is kind of worth doing because that's how I found the titles that I ended up picking up at this location. But anyhow, the Famicom, this game, I always see it, I'm not sure what it is, coming in at 700 yen. And then this is Human Something. I actually have that. Kind of a top-down shooter. Very difficult, but there's some fun to be had with it. But let's go ahead and move on to the Super Famicom stuff. And this is really, like, I think one of their stronger showings, what they had available for the Super Famicom. We have a couple of multi-carts for the Data East games published on the Super Famicom. But yeah, I wish I had more time because I was just kind of filming quickly and then browsing quickly, shopping quickly, and as you can see, there's quite a bit that he had. But let's have a closer look at some of the Super Famicom goodness that he had available, and some of the prices were actually decent, like the Super Metroid coming in at 1,799. There was Cotton 100% there, 1999 for Castlevania 4, 27.99 for Street Fighter 02, and 9.99 for Final Fight. I do like that version of Street Fighter 02 on the Famicom Alpha 2. It's a little bit slow, but still kind of neat to play. Then we have X3 for $14.99, $9.99 for the Vanilla X. And then we have 3D Balls, which I believe this is actually a 2D fighter. And then we're just going to continue making our way here. We have the N64 stuff. Not a big showing of N64, but still a lot of cool titles. And then here's the sale, the special. 3 games for 20% off. 5 games, you get 30% off. Now that is limited to cash only. And I actually did take advantage of that. I ended up getting 3 titles. Here we have the Game Boy Advance. I didn't even have time to browse this section, but look at that. Last time I spent some time browsing Game Boy Advance, I ended up finding Gunstar Heroes for 200 yen. So you just never know. A few Game Gear titles, and next to that we have Sega Mega Drive, which I actually ended up picking up a Mega CD, a junk one, mind you, at a different location. So expect a video on that soon once I get it up and running. It's currently not powering on, but hoping to have that fixed soon. And then we have Splatterhouse Part 2 for 7,999. Freaking awesome game. I would definitely love a copy of that. We have Bare Knuckle for 3,499. And then let's make our way into the Game Boy titles. But as I mentioned, I picked up 3 games. I picked up Contra for the Super Famicom, Double Dragon for the Game Boy, and I picked up another Game Boy game, but I cannot remember for the life of me. If I remember, I'll put it down below, which is kind of bad. I think that's kind of bad, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. I wonder how Uno is for the old Game Boy. Then we have our Sega Dreamcast games. I'm pretty much at peak Dreamcast. The only game that I would really want to add to my collection is the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fighting game by Capcom. And the same goes with the Sega Saturn. The Sega Saturn, that's the system I had growing up, and I pretty much played everything that I want. And it's a great system, and I often replay a lot of those classic games as they never get old. Well, they get old, but they're still great. Definitely love the Sega Saturn. And then we have PC Engine, HuCard, and CD-ROM games. And next to that, we have 3DS and DS games. So he has a little bit of everything. And then even a display. I think you can play that PS3 and test out games, and of course you can help yourself to the promo materials that he has stacked there. This side is kind of mainly like 7th generation era consoles or games, as well as PS4. On the opposite side, he has a Nintendo Switch, which I didn't even have time to film, as I had to make way for the hard off, as this is a double feature episode. But I kind of wish that I did spend more time here. Very nice gentleman here, that the owner of the shop. And then here we have Soul Cresta, the dramatic edition for $4,980. And then Raiden 4 and 5, and I believe 3 is also coming out for PlayStation 4 as well as the Nintendo Switch. Then we have Among Us, the Crewmate edition. I'm going to fast forward here. We got Risen 2, which was actually kind of fun to see that. And then we have a few 360 titles. And then we're going to make our way into the PlayStation 2. Now, the PlayStation 2, kind of a hefty section here, but a lot of common stuff, nothing that really stood out to me. But again, right now, like PlayStation 2, great system, but it's not one that I'm currently actively game hunting for. Although that's the first time seeing the C-Man bundled with the microphone. And then next to that, we have the PlayStation Vita. That Resistance I do want. Or actually, I think I have that. The one that I want is, whatchamacallit, Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma Plus. Although the Japanese versions are censored compared to their North American counterparts. What else do we have? PSP stuff. I'm pretty much good with my PSP collection. But still, I like to browse it because sometimes you come across some games that I haven't heard of before. And this is like the Switch section, which I completely overlooked, unfortunately, due to time. But he did have this MVS-X station. This thing is hefty. I actually want one, but I just don't have the space for it. And then we have this Game Freak's clone system. I actually used to have the Retro Freak, but I returned it. And then some patchy slots with the GI. But that's going to be it for Gameru, and we're just going to make our way onto the hard off. And I was actually on foot, which is one of the reasons why I was kind of pressed for time. But this Nagasaki, that's actually the airport, and I ended up walking to the airport after I was all done with the shopping. But nearby the airport was a Sega arcade as well as a Konami Sports Club. Now that arcade was pretty much just limited to crane games, which is why I didn't film there. But here, kind of nearby that, is the hard off, and kind of an interesting building. Definitely funky and it has some character. But you know what? I was here, and we're going to start in this little section. I actually ended up picking up F-Zero X there for 500 yen. Very cool game, actually. But actually, this location was actually very slim pickings with the games. And I kind of was a little bit let down, and I kind of wish that I would have focused more on Gameru. But it's one of those things, and it kind of just comes with the territory of game hunting. You just never know. And I'm still glad that I came, because if you don't come, you have that gnawing feeling of what if. But here we are, so we're gonna make the best of it. And this particular section was kind of off into the corner, like near like the DVDs and music CDs. And mainly like Nintendo cart systems. The Famicom, Super Famicom, N64, with a little bit of MSX into the mix. And there's that game again, 500 yen, that Konami game. I think it's 200 yen cheaper than Gameru. And what else do we have here? We got some Tecmo titles, Dragon Quest there, and that brown cart. I'm not really sure what that is, but you don't often see that color for the Super Famicom. We have Ogre Battle 64, 500 yen. And I forgot, I didn't get a close look at that other title back there. But a lot of like the first party stuff, and definitely at 500 yen, very affordable. What else do we have here? Oh yeah, I was debating on whether to get a Turok for the N64, but I decided against it in the end, even though it was only 500 yen, because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get the game, I'm going to test to make sure that it works, maybe play it for about 30 minutes, and then it's just going to go right in the backlog. So when I'm really feeling and ready to play it is when I'll pick it up. And that day may never come. But what do we have here? MSX Rollerball 1650. And I believe that title is also an MSX title. And then we have Makaimura. And this is actually coming in at the same price of 800 yen before tax. Although this one does have some ink markings on it. And then they had the AC adapter for the PS1. Not too bad there. But yeah, slim pickings here. Look at this. But nonetheless, let's see what kind of stuff that we can find here. You know, we have PS4 titles. And a bunch of random Wii stuff. You know, AV cables, the sensor bar, power bricks. And that's pretty much it. Kind of interesting that usually that stuff's like in the junk section, but maybe they just need to fill things in. Couple of PS5 games, and then a North American version of RE6 coming in at 3,000 yen before tax. A little bit pricey for that, but I guess you know that game's kind of out of its element, at least the region. Then we have Green Day Rock Band, North American flavor, and then we have a European Peggy, or is this Asia? I think that might be Asia actually. Medal of Honor. So a couple of different region games there. And then we have Seven Samurai for the PS2. Now, I believe this one is based off of the animation. Haven't played this one myself, but I believe that it was also released in North America. So I'm wondering what kind of game this is. Most likely just a hack and slash action game. Switching between Seven Samurai. And then we have Dead or Alive 2 Hardcore, as well as the vanilla version. So they got you covered for your DOA 2 PS2 needs. And then just kind of more random stuff, which this stuff is also in the junk section, but maybe it's just clean, and that is the difference. A few Vita titles here, but honestly nothing that really stood out except for this Talkman. I haven't heard of this one before, and it looks like it might be available in multiple languages based off of the little flags there. Have no idea what this is about, but it most likely like a language learning type of game. So if you want to brush up on your Japanese, there you go, Talkman. And then we have Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, and this includes the game, a little mini guide, a map, and the soundtrack. Usually the map and soundtrack bundle you can find in the junk section for a couple hundred yen. That's how I got mine. Which that map would actually be pretty cool to have framed. Then just some more random stuff. And look at all those Wiimotes for 1,000 yen. That's a little bit pricey, I feel, as the Wiimote is something that is just littered in the junk sections. A few Game Boy titles there. And then the little the showcase here. Not a lot of stuff, but still the N64 coming in at 3,300 yen. Not too bad of a price there. And this blue 3DS, this ice blue or whatever, that thing looks freaking awesome. I almost got that thing. It was just kind of luring me in. Definitely a nice color. And then some N64 controllers on the bottom. We have a Rockman Power Battle or Network. And then in the back, we have another MSX title. And I believe that's published by Casio, who also manufactured their own version of the MSX. And then we have a docking station for Switch and a PS2 Slim. That thing's actually pretty clean. And not too bad of a price there. And then we have the old Silver Surfer with 4 cosmic power phrases. What is it? To me, my board. Nice. And then it looks like this is also a series of 4 characters. We have Wolvie, Spidey, and Venom. I'm a fan of all 4. I have a few Silver Surfer comics. And of course, Wolverine, Spidey, and Venom. I wonder if that even works though. It's vintage. But here we go. We have the junk section. And honestly, if I'm going to be honest, nothing really spectacular here, but you know, nonetheless, we're gonna kind of like quickly browse through it, because this is still a worthy place to look for stuff, because this is usually where I get like controllers, AV cables if I'm looking specifically for S-Video or power bricks. But a lot of, I guess with the power bricks and the AV cables, you can get them from Amazon. But if you find yourself in Japan, it's usually going to be cheaper. And then there's this. Look at this. 100 yen for that badminton type of racket for the for the N64. So funny to see that. And then here we have our PS1 titles. Mixed in the mix is a few Dreamcast games. Then PS2 stuff. What do we have there? Final Fantasy 11, like a limited edition or a big box set. Some PSP titles with the Vitamin Z boys. The boys are everywhere, including the junk section. And then we have Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Haven't played this one, but I bet that one really pushes the PSP to its graphical limits. And then we have a Wii and a few original Xbox sports titles. Those are probably going to be there for a long time. And then PSP stuff, PS2 stuff, N64, Super Famicom. Yeah, I mean, you can spend a little bit of time browsing through this, and that's exactly what I did, but I didn't really find anything that was noteworthy. Although that was kind of a cool seeing that gold foil cover of FIFA 98. Gran Turismo 2, 100 yen. That was complete, by the way. And just kind of more stuff. Quite a bit, actually. But yeah. Now, although they didn't have like the best selection of video games at this particular location, they did have quite a bit of musical instruments and amps and all that good stuff. Look at this. Violins, guitars, trumpets, saxophones, everything. So that made up half of the store. But anyhow, for the next episode of Retro ReWire, we're going to be heading to Kanagawa to Asurugaya, and this one was fully stocked. My goodness, a lot of good stuff. But even though these locations were in Nagasaki were a little bit slim pickings, definitely worth going as the area does offer a lot of great food selections. But anyhow, my name is JJ. Thank you for watching Retro ReWire and hope to see you soon. Ciao.